We are going to begin with the Rayshard Brooks case. 6 days after his death, criminal charges have now been filed against both of the officers involved in the shooting. We are going to speak with Brooks's widow in just a moment. But first, NBC's Blaine Alexander has the very latest on the case. Hey, Blaine, good morning.
Well, Hoda, good morning to you. Those two officers have until 6 p.m. today to turn themselves in. Now, the key finding from the district attorney, he says that Brooks did not present himself as a threat to the officers. In fact, he pointed out that the officers knew that the taser he was carrying had been fired twice and was no longer dangerous. But this morning, the attorneys for both of those officers are speaking out, and they're slamming what they call a rushed process by the district attorney.
You have to try and go out.
This morning, we're hearing for the first time this newly released interview with Rayshard Brooks from earlier this year, speaking with the organization Reconnect about his previous experience being incarcerated.
Look at us as individuals. We do have lives, it's just a mistake we made, and, not just do us as if we are animals.
The company, which focuses on fighting incarceration, posted an ad on Craigslist looking for people to share their stories about navigating the criminal justice system.
Going through that process, it hardened me. It hardened me at a point. I'm trying. I'm not the type of person to give up, and I'm going to keep going until I make it to where I want to be.
It comes as prosecutors allege the police officer who shot him did not render aid for more than 2 minutes.
What we discovered is during the 2 minutes and 12 seconds that Officer Rolfe actually kicked Mr. Brooks while he laid on the ground, while he was there fighting for his life. The other officer, Officer Brosnan, actually stood on Mr. Brooks's shoulders while he was there struggling for his life.
This morning, both officers are facing criminal charges. Former Officer Garrett Rolfe, who was terminated, is facing 11 charges, including the most serious, felony murder. After firing the deadly shots, prosecutors say Rolfe said these words.
The utterance made by Officer Rolfe was, "I got him."
The second officer, Devin Brosnan, facing charges of aggravated assault and oath violation. For Brooks' wife, Tamika Miller, hearing those new details for the first time was like a gut punch.
Because I don't know what I would have done if I would have seen that for myself. But I felt everything that he felt just by hearing what he went through. And it hurt. It hurt really bad.
Last Friday, the two officers tried to arrest Brooks in a Wendy's parking lot after investigators say he failed a sobriety test. After speaking calmly for more than 40 minutes, video shows Brooks struggling with the officers once they tried to arrest him, grabbing one of their tasers and running before the DA says he turned around and fired that taser at them. Rolfe responded with 2 gunshots to the back. President Trump weighing in overnight on Fox News.
You can't resist a police officer, and, if you have a disagreement, you have to take it up after the fact. It was a very sad, very, very sad thing, and look, you take a look, it was out of control. The whole situation was out of control.
And guys, this morning, the attorneys for both of those officers are pushing back on some of those allegations from the district attorney. Both attorneys say that their clients did, in fact, render aid to Brooks. An attorney for Rolfe says that his actions were justified, while an attorney for Officer Brosnan is calling this a rush to misjudgment. Now, meanwhile, Savannah, overnight, the head of the police union confirmed to us that after those charges were announced, a number of officers around the city walked off the job. Others were radio silent for about 30 minutes, he says. And he says that this was not a strike or a coordinated effort. He said it's not a so-called blue flu, but rather officers saying that they've had enough. Savannah.
All right, Blaine Alexander. Blaine, thank you very much. And we're joined now by Tamika Miller. She's Rayshard Brooks' widow, and she's joined by her attorney, Chris Stewart. I want to say good morning to both of you. And Ms. Miller, with our condolences, I can't imagine what you've gone through. 4 days ago, you learned that your husband was killed. Now, today, the officers involved will face charges. One of them, the one that fired the weapon, faces charges that could bring the death penalty. How do you feel about what's happened? How do you feel about these charges?
Everything is just pretty much breathtaking. I don't know how things will go from here, but I'm just praying that everything will go through as God will. It's just very emotional. Father's Day is coming up, and all I can keep thinking about is my husband won't be here. No matter how many charges they face, it's not going to bring them back. It's not going to be a day where I see him walk through the door, or he's laughing with his kids again, or he's trying to do his best in life and become the best man he wants to be for his family. So I'm glad about the charges, but I want to see them go through.
Mr. Stewart, as I turn to you, there were some really disturbing facts revealed by the district attorney yesterday about the way that Mr. Brooks was treated after the shooting, according to the district attorney, who said that that he wasn't given aid after 2 minutes, which is something the officers are now denying, that Mr. Brooks was kicked, that one of the officers said, "I got him," the one that fired the weapon. That's according to the prosecutors. How does this impact the case?
Yeah, just watch the video. I mean, if the district attorney had taken 2 years to come to this conclusion, the union and these officers' lawyers still would have said it was a rush to judgment and that it was wrong. You just can't win if you try and charge a police officer. So it doesn't matter. They're wrong, and they're going to have to go through the criminal justice system. So we're just going to wait and let it play out and hope that we finally get justice for Rayshard.
Mr. Stewart, I should mention, because the legal team for Officer Rolfe, who is the one who fired his weapon, put out a statement saying that Mr. Brooks violently attacked 2 officers, disarmed one of them by taking his taser. And he said, when Mr. Brooks turned and pointed an object at Officer Rolfe, any officer would have reasonably believed that he intended to disarm, disable, or seriously injure him. What do you say to that defense?
I say that
I think we unfortunately I still have Ms. Miller with me. And I guess I can ask you the question, Ms. Miller, what you think about what the officers are saying about their defense of what's happened here. How do you see this interaction?
I mean, I just feel it's ridiculous. It's still unjustified, regardless of how they feel. It's unjustified. The distance of him running away, it should have never went to that. You know, it should have never even gotten to the point of him having to feel like he had to defend himself. He was never told why he was being arrested. So for them to try to defend and justify their actions is ridiculous to me. It really is.
And I think we have, and I want to get your lawyer's opinion on it as well, because this is likely, Mr. Stewart, where the legal case is going. Yeah, and I wanted to give you a chance to respond to what the police officers are saying on their own behalf. What is your response to that?
Yeah, the shot actually took place as Mr. Brooks had turned back around and was running 18 feet away, as the district attorney said. A taser is a non-lethal weapon. So when it's used on victims all the time, the defense is the opposite. The defense is it's a non-lethal weapon. It's not life-threatening. It's used and trained to be used in these situations. So you can't have it both ways. So is it non-lethal or is it lethal? So I understand the defenses. I understand that people are upset that an officer was finally charged for once. But think about how upset all of the victims are when this never happens. So let's just be fair and look at both sides and let the process play out. Justice comes to both sides. For once, it's coming to the victim.
And Ms. Miller, I wanted to just ask you a simple question, because you mentioned Father's Day is coming up. You've got 4 kids. One just had her 8th birthday on the day that her dad died. Just how are you doing? How are the kids doing?
I have my up and down moments. I can't say I'm doing well because I'm not. It's hard for me to sleep. Every day I'm praying. I'm praying to get through it. I'm praying for strength. I wake up and my daughter's crying, and she's crying out for her dad, the little one. It's not just the 8-year-old. I have other children who are mourning for their dad. and they miss him dearly. So I wish that I could say I'm doing well, but I'm not.
Wow. It's an honest answer, and it's an understandable one given everything that's gone on. Ms. Miller, thank you for your time. Mr. Stewart, to you as well. We appreciate you joining us and sharing your perspective. It's about 13 minutes after the hour now. I'll send it to you, Hoda.
All right, Savannah, thank you. Craig joins the table now. Another major story we're following.
We are indeed. That's right. NBC News has explosive new details from that new book from President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton. This as the Justice Department makes another emergency move trying to block its publication. NBC's White House correspondent Peter Alexander has the overnight developments on this. Peter, good morning.
Hey, Craig, good morning to you. This is a blistering book from John Bolton, once one of the president's closest advisors, a longtime loyal Republican, blasting President Trump as irrational and foolish, arguing that the president's thinking is not grounded in philosophy or policy or any grand strategy, that it's simply grounded in Trump.
President Trump on Fox News overnight bashing his former national security advisor, John Bolton.
He broke the law. Very simple. I mean, as much as it's going to be broken, this is highly classified. That's the highest stage. It's highly classified information.
The president also calling Bolton a liar, telling the Wall Street Journal everybody in the White House hated John Bolton. In his new book obtained by NBC News, Bolton delivers a scathing assessment of his old boss. Bolton says that the president is easily flattered by authoritarian leaders who try to manipulate him. Bolton described the president's relationship with Vladimir Putin to ABC News.
I think Putin thinks he can play him like a fiddle. I think Putin is smart, tough. I think he sees that he's not faced with a serious adversary here. I don't think he's worried about Donald Trump.
Bolton writes that the president was willing to intervene in criminal investigations with foreign adversaries like China and Turkey as personal favors to dictators he liked. The president's behavior on that front and on his personal legal issues stunned Bolton, who described it as obstruction of justice as a way of life. Bolton says he reported his concerns to Attorney General William Barr.
I think he was so focused on the re-election that longer-term considerations fell by the wayside. So if he thought he could get a photo opportunity with Kim Jong-un at the demilitarized zone in Korea, there was considerable emphasis on the photo opportunity and the press reaction to it, and little or no focus on what such meetings did for the bargaining position of the United States.
During negotiations with China's President Xi, Bolton says President Trump asked the Chinese leader to buy American soybeans and wheat to boost his electoral prospects in farm states, pleading with Xi to ensure he'd win. Bolton says the president didn't know Britain is a nuclear power and asked if Finland is a part of Russia, and that during a meeting, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo passed him a note insulting President Trump, saying he is so full of expletive.
The Secretary of State has not commented on Bolton's accusations. The Attorney General's office has said that Bolton grossly mischaracterized his conversation with William Barr. And overnight, the Trump administration asked a federal court for an immediate order to delay the release of Bolton's book, arguing it contains classified information, something Bolton's lawyer has repeatedly denied. But of course, it may be too late because its most damning accusations, Craig, obviously are already out there.
Peter Alexander from the White House this morning. Peter, thank you.
All right. Also this morning, the Labor Department is expected to report that another 1.3 million Americans filed jobless claims last week, and that would push the total to over 45 million during the coronavirus pandemic.
Meanwhile, hundreds of folks lined up on the Kentucky State Capitol grounds Wednesday, all of them hoping to get unemployment help, many of them frustrated after going months without any benefits or updates on their unemployment claims.
Unprepared to handle the amount of responses that they had. When are you going to help us? We are your people. We put you in the position that you're in. You need to hear our voices.
People in line say they wanted to simply talk to an actual person rather than waiting by the computer for a response that never comes.
There's a time lapse, by the way, of that unemployment line that is jarring. And just to think all those people lined up, they're not getting a check. They just want to meet a human being, right, fill out a form and hand it in so they can get their unemployment money. It's frustrating, I can imagine.
Absolutely. Guys, it's that time of the morning when we check the weather, and for that, there's no better person to say good morning to than our Al. Hi, Al. How you doing?
Hey, guys, good morning. Good to see all of you. And we're watching right now some activity along the eastern seaboard from Florida all the way up into the Appalachians. We're going to also watch a cold front that's going to be pushing across the upper Midwest, and that's going to bring some problems. Widespread storms today for the mid-Atlantic. Heavy rain will develop across Florida and continue right on into the weekend. It's unsettled along the eastern seaboard for tomorrow with scattered storms from Ohio to the Gulf Coast and more soaking rain down for Florida. The rainfall amounts from Minneapolis all the way into Texas, about 1 to 2 inches, and the heaviest rain is going to be down in Florida. We're going to be looking at some flooding issues because we're going to be looking at locally 4 to 6 inches of rain, especially in the midsection of Florida and all the way down toward the Keys.